Hey everyone, welcome to From the Depths. I'm Minty, and this is episode 143 of the Battleship Brawls Season 3 tournament. This episode we've got the BB-40 New Mexico by Faram 4 going up against the Testuedo by Zebgef in a league battle. It is important to note that the Testuedo is at 4.5 lives. If it is victorious here, it will be entered into the Hall of Champions. So let's go ahead, get this battle underway, get the explosions going, and see whether it's making it there today. Is the Arkansas going to be a roadblock? Or Arkansas, New Mexico. Whoops! Wrong ship, wrong builder. Armor on the Testuedo there absorbed that hit. Ooh. That gun got taken down by the Testuedo's volley, it seems. Second volley, a lot less effective. Did a shell penetrate through like the top there and then detonate on the other side? How do you land a hit like that and have an explosion detonate on the opposite side of the Testuedo like that? That's interesting. Oh, got a bit of a chasing engagement going on now. Ooh, Testuedo evading that volley. Launching its own back. Still able to fire its full effect, because its barrels can rotate 360, and the New Mexico seems to have lost all except its rearmost gun. That was a solid hit to the rear of the Testuedo there, though. Having some frame rate skipping, and I have no idea why. It really shouldn't be, but it's doing it. It's a shame the New Mexico really hasn't taken that much in the way of hit point damage, and yet it's basically almost defeated because all of its like the Testuedo managed to land shots on its guns like crazy. That's some really good shooting by the Testuedo. It's going to be very difficult for the New Mexico to bring those turrets back online. It's trying though. Look at those. Look at that material going down. Already used half of it. Already used half of its available resources repairing itself. And that's probably part of the reason why it's still so high on hit points, too. Ooh, this is going to let these shells here jump in. Oh, it just shot itself. Oh, it did not. Well, actually, no, that blew a hole into the Testuedo, but it does not look like it actually got through the armor. Maybe it did. It's hard to tell. I can't really get in there with the ship moving like that. That turret may have just taken a hit. Yeah, it lost one of its barrels for sure. The other one is damaged, and then the middle one seems to still be functional and fine. But the amount of return fire it greatly exceeds the amount of fire that the New Mexico is able to put out. But the New Mexico, very durable and tough ship. It's taken a lot of hits and not lost a lot of hit points. It's just a lot of those hits have been to the turrets, and if you lose your guns, you kind of lose the match. Oh, and it looks like that middle, yep, it had its barrels sawed off there. Well, the New Mexico currently has no more functioning guns. It It is nothing but target practice for the Testudo at this point. Oh, I stand corrected. That one gun with the really short barrel is still working. It's still able to fire. So it is technically not over yet, but let's face it, that single barrel is not going to clutch this. Especially since the New Mexico is out of materials and cannot repair itself any further. The New Mexico would have to somehow land... I just fired 2 shells, so it has 2 guns working apparently. But the New Mexico would have to AI snipe the Testudo to win at this point. Or another option is to run into it and hold it under the water until it drowns. That is entirely possible, and we have seen ships that should have lost win by doing just that, but it looks like that's not going to happen here. They're turning away from one another, and it looks like this rear turret is finally offline. Yeah, it's got nothing left. The New Mexico has been battered, beaten, and defeated. Waiting for that official despawn. Because you never know. Something crazy could happen. It's extremely unlikely, but hey, I'm going to give you every opportunity you can. But, you know, let's oh, there it is. 53%. That is 2 damaged. The New Mexico is going to despawn. And there it goes. That is it for this match, folks. And with that, the Testudo is going to enter the Hall of Champions. So congratulations, Zebgev. You've done it. You are victorious. And with that, going to do a quick cut here, and we'll take a look at the vessel. Take a look at its guns, its armor, all that sort of stuff. Alright, folks, so here we are, the Testudo by Zebgev. Not a whole lot to see on the outside. That's the immediate thought I have about this vessel. Oh, I thought those were flat surfaces for a second, but nope, they're sloped blocks. It's got a very angled hull and very low freeboard. Like, let's see, I guess you would call this the top of the deck. So it's got 1, 2, 3 meters of freeboard, basically. 2.5. Okay. So let's go ahead and check out the speed and maneuverability here. And we'll throw a fire control computer so I can look at that too. Alright. Bring that UI back up, and away we go. Testudo hits a brisk 20.5 meters per second, probably is the highest it'll kick up to. Quite a quick ship, very close to the upper limit of what's allowed. The very first version that was sent in to me actually exceeded the speed limit, and I had to reject it and have it resubmitted. And then I noticed, you can see these barrels that right now they're just long enough so that they don't well. Okay, they clip through the fusing thing, but they don't clip through the firing pieces. And I had to do that because the barrels were originally too long and were excessive clipping. But anyway, we go ahead and take a look at the turn. Turn rate's nice. It's pretty quick. It's very stable. It doesn't really rock or lean at all while it's turning. It is down low in the water. I'm not sure why it started slowing down there. And it keeps up its speed while it's turning, too. Oh, I think it's actually set up to do that. Anyway. Or it might have some sort of speed variance system to make it harder to hit. Anyway, very, very fast, pretty agile ship. Let's go ahead and check out the armor next, which I think is going to be a strong point of this vessel. Plus, the very low freeboard here makes it kind of difficult to hit. Because water skipping, if a shell is going for anything in this area, basically from the edge to where the water is, it is likely going to hit the water and then bounce over the ship and not hit anything, just completely miss, which is definitely a strong feature. But at the same time, any shell that hits out here is likely to fall away and away from the ship and just go down under here, because the ship is not all that deep. So while it's possible if a shell were to like hit the water right here, it could theoretically drift down and manage to punch through right here in the weaker parts and then end up blowing out the floor that a turret is resting on. But that's that would be a 1 in a million shot, honestly. Like, because if you're off by just a little bit, you're either going to hit the little armor bulwark here, little like bulge armor type thing, or just miss and sink to the bottom of the ocean. Anyway, onto the armor itself. Lots of heavy armor triangle reinforcement corners in here. Just a layer of metal with heavy armor beneath it. Looks like there's actually a lot of space, and here's where most of the propellers are. They're actually inside here. Right. Yeah, and rudders too. Just like a maze of friggin' propellers in here. That's kind of funny. And then using the engine as part of the either you forgot a block there, or you're just didn't really want to make this room airtight, even though it technically would be, because that pipe, even though it's only a pipe, still counts as a full block and would prevent water from entering that space. But anyway, so got some heavy armor reinforcements on the top. That's got metal beneath it. Honestly, I probably would have done that the other way, with the metal up here and the heavy armor down here. But I mean, what am I who am I to say anything? It's Zebgef has a champion in the Hall of Champions. I do not. Though, I mean, the Nagome just needs to fight one more battle, and then it will be, but that's beside the point. Diagonal beam slips. Covering an AI here. So the armor, not particularly thick or heavy. It's actually a rather lightly armored ship. It's just the angling and sloping of the construction and its low freeboard makes it quite difficult to do any real damage to. But if you got a plunging fire piercing shell that came in down through here, like, it could do some serious damage. But most APHE hybrid shells have pretty high muzzle velocity, so they come in at a shallow angle and end up hitting the water and skipping over, or hitting these upper parts, and then then it has to go through all, that gives, with all of this heavy armor here going across here, that's basically 8 meters of heavy armor reinforcement. Well, 7 meters technically on these slope blocks, these down slopes. So that comes out to an AC of 70 or 70 something. I forget the exact number. So these blocks actually have a ton of armor class and will negate a lot of damage. And then these ones do the same thing. So hitting up in this neck part will eat up a lot of your kinetic damage unless you've got super high penetration. But that'll be changing in 2.0 because they are changing it so that partial blocks like this do not provide their full armor reinforcement bonuses. It'll only provide part of it. So this will not be as effective in the next patch. So yeah, that just leaves the gun. I meant to go into build mode on the gun, but yeah. Which is an 1884 millimeter shell with a 14.94 refire rate. Well, 14.94 second. So 15 seconds. It's not particularly strong for the gauge. 11,000 kinetic and 19,000 explosive. It's not bad by any means. Not saying it's bad. It's just it's not a particularly powerful shell, but it definitely packs a punch. Let's go ahead and I don't know why I got out of that because I want to do this, and then well, no, I'll leave that. And we're going to. I should really, when I do these things, I should just start loading in the weapon test platform and stuff before I start the video. Plop myself onto the platform. Oops, not what I want. What the heck's going on there? Not entirely sure what happened there, but oh, those are cheap though. Those guns are okay. They aren't particularly powerful because that was a 100% crammed shell when we were looking at those stats. But this gun is only 7650 materials. That's pretty cheap. And it doesn't even appear to be all that complex a Tetris. It's just pretty standard 4 autoloader connection loadout. No, it's not even 4 on all. Yeah, on the inner bits, 4 autoloader connection loadout on the inside ones, and then 2 on the outer ones. We've seen a lot more complicated Tetris than this, and let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 by 7, 7 by 7 by 5 for the main body, not counting the turret neck and the barrel and whatnot. Let's check the fusings on it. It's got an impact fuse and a time after impact fuse. Interesting. So let's go clear out the barrel so we can get a shell fired off with its actual refire rate, so we can see the stats of the shell that would actually be fired in a battle. See, 9,500 kinetic and 14,000 explosive. That's kind of, I'd say, slightly on the weaker side of average. Not like it's not a flimsy shell by any means. Like, that'll hurt. But I mean, it's a cram shell, of course. But it's not going to do a whole lot. And we'll see. I'm going to fire it at the at my little armor setup thing that I have here. And we'll see. And see, it got through, detonated against the... No, stop repairing. Stop it. Oh, you jerk. So anyway, I think it was this beam right here, it got knocked out. As you can see, it detonated inside here, and then it did nothing. It blew out the floor. It didn't do a whole lot of damage. You know, but there are a lot of them because they are fairly cheap. So individually, they're not particularly powerful, but if we come back over here to the Testuedo, we can see it has 14 of them, which is a pretty significant number. So 14 of those can do some hurt. But yeah, you can see, like, I mean, it's obviously missing. Can I get seasick doing that? Jeez. I believe it looks like it was this beam that it actually hit and penetrated through before the repairs happened. and then it hit against this heavy armor block, detonated, and did a whole lot of nothing, basically, after that. I mean, this outer bit here is sort of set up to resist high explosive, because if I show you, those blocks are, the beams are not, it's not lengthwise, it's front and back. So that explosion was only able to hit 2 blocks, 2 sides of this beam. Whereas these ones down here, well, all 4 of the beams, all 4 of the blocks that make up the beam were hit by the explosion. That's why these were destroyed, but these ones survived, because these ones literally took half the damage. Not counting armor class and all that. So yeah, it's not a particularly powerful weapon, but not a weak one either. It definitely does some damage, but as you can see, it doesn't do a ton. I mean, the heavy armor surviving, that's 2 layers of heavy armor beam. That's to be expected. But the fact that it didn't destroy any of these blocks is definitely indicative of a shell on the weaker side. But anyway, enough of my rambling. I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing my voice by now. So, that being said, if you think the Testuedo is worthy of being entered into the Hall of Beauty with all of the things I've shown, then go ahead and upvote the comment down below that says to induct it. If you don't, upvote the comment that says don't induct it. That simple. That's all you gotta do. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the battlefield.